Ladies and gentlemen, you might be lifting weights, eating plenty of protein, and staying active, but there's still a silent process happening in your body. One that many people overlook. You're losing muscle. Not dramatically, not overnight, but subtly, consistently, week after week, year after year. The real question is, why is this happening, even when you're doing the right things? Most people assume muscle loss only happens to the elderly or to those who are completely sedentary. But the reality is, muscle atrophy begins far earlier and more subtly than most realize. Starting in our 30s, we begin to lose muscle mass at a rate of about 3 to 5% per decade if we're not actively doing something to counteract it. That rate accelerates as we age, particularly after the age of 50. But it's not just aging that drives this process, it's lifestyle. High levels of chronic stress, poor sleep, lack of movement, and nutrient deficiencies all contribute to a gradual erosion of muscle tissue. Even people who go to the gym a few times a week are not immune. If you spend the majority of your day sitting, your body adapts by downregulating muscle protein synthesis and neural drive to muscle fibers. Over time, this creates a metabolic environment that favors muscle breakdown over growth. Muscle loss isn't just about aesthetics or strength, it's a foundational health issue. It affects insulin sensitivity, mobility, bone density, and even brain function. It's tightly connected to longevity and quality of life, and the most dangerous part is that you don't feel it happening. You wake up one year and realize you've lost strength, energy, and resilience. This is why proactive strategies to preserve muscle are critical, not reactive ones. And that starts with understanding what factors are silently chipping away at your muscular system, even when it seems like you're doing everything right. Protein is essential for building and maintaining muscle, but it's not the whole story. Many people believe that simply consuming enough grams of protein per day is sufficient to prevent muscle loss. While dietary protein provides the raw materials, amino acids for muscle repair and growth, it does not address the full range of physiological processes required to maintain healthy muscle tissue over time. Muscle maintenance involves a delicate balance between protein synthesis and protein breakdown. Protein intake can help tip the scale toward synthesis, but it relies heavily on other factors: cellular energy availability, hormonal signaling, inflammation levels, and the presence of certain compounds that optimize muscle metabolism. One of the most overlooked among these is creatine. Without adequate creatine, muscle cells may not have the energy required to efficiently carry out protein synthesis. ATP, the energy currency of the cell, is rapidly depleted during exercise or muscle activity. Creatine helps replenish ATP quickly, allowing the muscle to sustain contraction and recover. This energy support is crucial not only during exercise, but also during rest and repair phases, where much of the actual muscle growth and preservation occurs. Furthermore, protein alone does not significantly enhance neuromuscular efficiency or support intercellular hydration, both of which are key to preventing muscle atrophy. These are areas where creatine has shown strong benefits in clinical research. So while protein is absolutely necessary, relying on it alone is like trying to build a house with bricks but no mortar. You're missing what holds the entire structure together. Creatine is often misunderstood. Most people associate it with bodybuilders or elite athletes, assuming it's only relevant for those chasing extreme muscle gains. But this view is outdated and scientifically inaccurate. Creatine is not a synthetic or exotic substance. It's a naturally occurring compound in the human body, primarily stored in muscle tissue. Its fundamental role is to help regenerate ATP, the energy molecule that powers nearly every cellular process, including muscle contraction and repair. What makes creatine so crucial is that it supports both the energy systems of the body and the structural integrity of muscle tissue. Every time your muscles contract, whether during a workout, climbing stairs, or even maintaining posture, they rely on ATP. Creatine acts as a buffer, rapidly restoring ATP levels, especially during short bursts of activity. Without enough creatine, your muscles fatigue more quickly, repair more slowly, and may not respond as effectively to training stimuli. But the role of creatine goes even deeper. It promotes cellular hydration, which is vital for muscle volume and health. Hydrated muscle cells signal an anabolic or growth-promoting state, while dehydrated ones often shift toward catabolism or breakdown. Creatine also supports satellite cell activation, which plays a role in muscle regeneration. Perhaps most importantly, creatine benefits extend beyond muscle. It supports brain energy metabolism, cognitive function, and even mood regulation. So when we talk about creatine, we're not talking about a performance enhancer reserved for athletes. We're talking about a foundational nutrient that helps preserve function, strength, and energy at the cellular level. The effectiveness of creatine isn't based on marketing hype or anecdotal gym talk. It's grounded in a large body of rigorous peer-reviewed scientific research. Over the past few decades, creatine has become one of the most extensively studied dietary supplements in the world.
What the science shows is remarkably consistent. Creatine supplementation reliably enhances muscle mass, strength, recovery, and overall physical performance. But perhaps more importantly, it helps preserve muscle, especially in conditions where muscle loss is accelerated, such as aging, injury, or periods of inactivity. One meta-analysis published in the Journal of Gerontology reviewed over 20 studies and concluded that creatine supplementation in older adults significantly improved lean muscle mass and strength, even without changes in physical activity. Another study in Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise found that individuals taking creatine during resistance training gained more muscle and lost less during detraining periods compared to those who did not supplement. The benefits extend to women, vegetarians, and even sedentary individuals. In fact, creatine has been shown to reduce sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass, by improving muscle protein synthesis, neuromuscular coordination, and energy metabolism. Importantly, these results aren't from megadoses or exotic forms of the compound. Most of the research uses plain creatine monohydrate at standard doses, 3 to 5 grams/day, which is safe, inexpensive, and widely available. In the world of supplementation, very few substances live up to their claims. Creatine does, and it's not just for athletes. It's for anyone who wants to protect their muscle tissue and stay physically capable as they age. When it comes to creatine, one of the most common questions is, how much should I take and when? The good news is that creatine supplementation is incredibly simple, safe, and low maintenance. The most evidence-backed dose is 3 to 5 grams per day of creatine monohydrate. This small daily amount is sufficient to saturate muscle stores over time without the need for loading phases or cycling on and off. Although loading protocols, such as taking 20 grams a day for 5 to 7 days, can accelerate saturation, they are not necessary for long-term benefit. Timing is flexible. While some research suggests slight advantages when creatine is taken around workouts, especially post-exercise when muscles are more receptive to nutrients, the difference is marginal. The most important factor is consistency. Taking it daily at a time that fits your routine is what leads to results. As for safety, creatine has one of the best safety profiles of any supplement. Decades of research, including long-term studies in both healthy and clinical populations, show no adverse effects on kidney or liver function when used as directed. Concerns about dehydration or cramping have also been debunked. In fact, creatine supports cellular hydration and may actually reduce the risk of muscle injury. Creatine monohydrate is the most studied and cost-effective form. Fancy variations like creatine ethyl ester or buffered creatine often offer no additional benefit and come at a higher price. Simple, pure creatine monohydrate, taken daily and consistently, is all you need to support muscle health and performance effectively. Most people assume they're getting enough creatine from their diet, especially if they eat meat or fish. But the truth is, even a well-balanced diet often falls short of providing the amount of creatine needed to fully saturate muscle stores. Creatine is found in animal-based foods like beef, pork, and salmon, but you'd have to consume nearly a pound of red meat or several servings of fish each day to get the recommended 3 to 5 grams of creatine used in research. For vegetarians and vegans who consume little to no creatine from food, levels are typically even lower. This suboptimal intake translates into lower muscular energy reserves, reduced exercise capacity, and potentially greater risk of age-related muscle loss. Even active individuals may not realize that their performance is being capped by low intracellular creatine levels. This isn't a deficiency in the classic sense, like scurvy or iron anemia, but it's a functional gap that limits muscle health, endurance, and recovery. Research shows that when people who don't supplement begin taking creatine, their muscle creatine stores increase significantly, often by 20 to 40%. This leads to measurable improvements in strength, power output, and resistance to fatigue. In other words, if you're not supplementing, there's a good chance you're operating below your physical potential. Creatine supplementation doesn't replace a healthy diet, it complements it. It ensures you're not leaving muscle performance, energy, or resilience on the table due to an easily correctable shortfall in a key nutrient that your body uses every single day. Muscle loss isn't always visible, but it's happening, slowly and silently, especially if you're not supporting your body with more than just protein and exercise. Creatine is a simple, well-researched supplement that addresses the deeper mechanisms behind muscle maintenance, cellular energy, hydration, and neuromuscular function. Whether you're aging, training hard, or simply aiming to preserve strength and vitality, creatine fills a critical gap in your physiology. It's safe, effective, and likely missing from your daily routine. Just 3 to 5 grams a day can make the difference between gradual decline and sustained performance. Don't overlook it. Your muscles depend on it. So if you care about strength, longevity, cognitive function, and daily performance, creatine isn't optional, it's foundational. There's a difference between living and thriving, and sometimes the gap between the two is just 5 grams a day. Don't wait until muscle loss becomes noticeable. Take control. Add the missing piece. Your muscles and your mind will thank you.